Where are we? What are we doing here? We're not here for a program. We're not here for a old-time church. We're not here for a human potential movement event. We're not here for entertainment. We're here for revolution. We're here for revolution. We're here at a revolutionary moment in time. A moment in time unlike any other in previous human history. And at this revolutionary moment in time, at this moment in which we're poised between utopia, a potential utopia which is unimaginable, and a potential dystopia, which is equally unimaginable, the loss of the entire future, we understand that in this moment, in this time between worlds, which is what we call it here, it's a time between worlds, like the Renaissance was a time between worlds, but this time with far more at stake, if that's at all possible. Just like in the Renaissance, there's this plague, the Black Death, that sweeps and destroys Europe and parts of Asia, and pre-modernity is over, and we need, in order to be able to address the depth of the suffering, a new story, and the Renaissance generates a new story. In that sense, we're at the precise same moment. Modernity in its hyper-modern expression, post-modernity, is drawing to a close, but it's taken us to a point, unlike the Renaissance. Modernity and hyper-modernity has taken us to a point, unlike the Renaissance, in which two things are true. All right, number one, we have a global civilization, and number two, the technology of that global civilization is exponential, meaning we have the actual capacity, if our civilization falls, which it will, like every other major civilization that fell, because we haven't solved the core generator functions for the fall of civilization. But this time it's a global civilization, but when it falls exponentially, meaning the capacity of destruction actually destroys the future. Now, if you've heard me say that sentence before, or some version of it, which you have, and you hear it again now, or you heard it the first time, the sentence doesn't even go in. I can imagine even those people that I'm super close to, is that right? Okay, that's what we say every week. Right? It's unimaginable. So we numb to it. We deaden to it. Here I am, I'm sitting in Amsterdam, I'm sitting in Paris, right? I'm sitting in, Montana, I'm sitting in Asia, I'm in Japan, it doesn't matter, right? I'm doing my thing, right? I'm in, right, dystopia, utopia, right. There might not be a future. Isn't that exciting, right? We actually can't even grasp it, right? We're at this moment where we literally stand before the potential of no future and the potential of a future that's unimaginable in its beauty. So we're at this place where these two paths that diverge in the wood are more dramatic than at any other moment in the history of the cosmos. And we have been born in this moment. So I want to get that sentence with you, right? Friends, right? Friends, Romans, countrymen, right? Lend me your hearts, I lend you my heart. Let's feel into this. Why were we born at this time? We were born at this time because we've got something to do here. And we're not just born at this time, but those of us who are on this phone call, do you know that if you make more than $55,000 a year, you're in the 1% of humanity? Virtually everyone on this phone call has either directly or indirectly a level of capacity, a level of gift, right? A level of contribution that if we step out, and our contribution, we're going to talk about it today, is often different than we think it is. Right? Our contribution is, we're going to need to talk about, how do I identify my contribution? How do I find my contribution? How do I know what it is? But all of us, we're here at this moment in time, at this moment in history, but we're not any place else on the planet. So we're at this moment in history, right? At this moment in time, and the overwhelming majority, 99.9% of the planet isn't really paying attention. Right? At best, people want to get through COVID and get back to normal. But there's not going to be a back to normal. There'll be a back to normal after the vaccine for a few years. But the infrastructure, COVID was but a dress rehearsal for genuine catastrophic and existential risk, right? At scales far beyond that will make COVID look like a shiny, beautiful spring afternoon where we ate ice cream, So we're at this incredible moment, and we're not just at this moment in time, we're here together. We're the revolution, right? It's our responsibility. We are together, the body of the revolution, right? The church talked about the body of Christ. Think about Christ as, right, this dream of a different future. Think about Da Vinci as a dream of a different future. We're here to be Da Vinci together. We're here at this time between stories, this time between worlds, to actually do the most effective moral act possible, the most effective altruism possible, which is to articulate a new story, right? And because only a new story changes civilization. Only a new story evolves the source code. Only a new story activates a new human and a new humanity. And the new story can't be conjecture. It can't be fanciful, right? It can't be made up. It can't be contrived. But a new story has to be based on what? And you finish the sentence for me. Friends, brothers, sisters. A new story has to be based on first principles and shared values. First principles and first values. First principles and first values that are shared, right? That are universal, that live inside of us and live in the core structure of cosmos itself. And those first principles and first values weave, they're the strands of the fabric of a new story that then becomes the ground, right, for a global ethos, for a global civilization. My friend Terry sent me an email on Friday, which I haven't gotten back to yet, and he was reading intensely the book that we've been talking about, Surveillance Capitalism, which talks about the structure of the internet today, which is the nervous system of the planet, which is committed to essentially extrapolating, sucking up, vacuuming up personal data from every human being on the planet, using machine intelligence to translate that personal data into a hidden script that only about 10,000 people, the experts hired by the large tech companies, only experts can read. And then that data is sold to third parties, which are not you, in order to manipulate you to make decisions as a consumer and a voter against your own deepest will, not for the sake of your own deepest good, but for the deepest good of the third party with whom you're not in any way aligned, certainly not necessarily aligned. And that's the actual structure of the fabric of cosmos. And Zuboff, right, Shoshana Zuboff at Harvard, who writes this fantastic book, Surveillance Capitalism, is outraged, but she can't quite articulate her outrage. Like, what's wrong with it? Why can't, isn't just business as usual? There's no law against it. What's the problem? She can't articulate the outrage, right, and the source of it, right? She can't actually activate a revolution, right, because she doesn't have first principles and first values to appeal to, which are being violated. So Google and Facebook and Verizon and Samsung and now Amazon, right, and a number of other key players are vacuuming up the personal data of human beings, both how they write sentences, how long they hover over a particular link, all information, which is a human being's intimate personal experience, all of the smartphone and smart bed and smart thermostat, right? All of those, right? The Internet of Things absorb that information, translate it, right, into this hidden script of data, which is then used by the best artificial intelligence in the world, the kind that wiped out, right, the best chess masters in the world, to actually get you to decide against your own deepest sense of self. That's happening. No one's doing anything about it. Why? Because we don't know how to activate a revolution. And why don't we know how to activate a revolution? Because we don't have first principles and first values, which we actually hold as a shared universal grammar of value that we feel have been violated. And therefore we activate, right, the appropriate revolution. So in order to actually have this revolution, we have to actually articulate first values and first principles. What's our intention? And I'm resetting it, okay? And I'm going to ask you, and you're going to ask me, and I lend you my heart, and you lend me your heart, and we lend each other our hearts, right? Friends, brothers and sisters, let's reset now, right? Let's not be here as just another ordinary week, okay? There is no ordinary anymore. There's only the extraordinary, right? Our lives are now extraordinary. We live in times which are unlike any other times, which could actually obliterate the future or create the best possible future there ever was, and people are going about business as usual. Now, we've got to engage this with joy. We've got to engage this with intent, concern, but with the energy of joy, the privilege of having a seat at the table, right? The privilege of being evolution in person. You know, Barbara Marx Hubbard, my deep homemate and evolutionary partner, with whom, right, I was privileged to found, right, together with so many people who are here on the call. We founded this together. We started this together, right? This one mountain, many paths, right? This evolutionary gathering, right? This communion of revolutionaries, right? We founded this so that this would be much like the church was in the civil rights movement, for example, in the United States, or the church in Poland, right, you know, at its best, right, several hundred years ago, right, or right, and as the church in the United States, for example, it's a good example, right? We're not United States centric, we're world centric, but it's just a particular United States example for now, right? The church, the Black gospel church in the United States, animated the civil rights revolution. Wow, that's a big deal, right? So we want to be, right, this one mountain, many paths, this synagogue, this church, this atheist center, the secular humanist center. We want to animate, right? We come together, we love each other so madly, right? We live in this world of outrageous pain, and we know the only response to outrageous pain is outrageous love. We live in this world of outrageous beauty, and we know the only response to outrageous beauty is outrageous love. So we come together as this, and this is our intention, as this band of outrageous lovers, and we do it for the first time. We're not doing it solely for our personal satisfaction. We're not even doing it for our personal development. We're doing it because we're taking responsibility for the whole thing. We're saying it's not happening in some government agency. It's not happening in some university department in the Sorbonne or in the university in Japan, right? Or in, right? It's not happening there. Where's it happening? It's happening where it decides to emerge. There is no elite of scientists that's organizing this. There's no elite of intelligence agencies. There's no elite of politicians. There's no elite of writers or journalists, right? The people who are taking responsibility for the future are the people that the future burns in, right? The people that the future won't let go of its grip on them, right? And we are the voice. We are those people. And we're taking a responsibility to articulate the source code, to articulate this new dharma, this new body of first values and first principles, right? Drawn from the best of pre-modern, modern, and postmodern thought into a new weave, right? And so why am I resetting? Because, you know, as we started today, I almost had this feeling in my body, right? Okay, we're doing this again. No, we're not doing this again, right? Madonna, right? Like a virgin for the very first time. We've made love 1,000 times. But now we're for the very first time. We come and we bring now, and who's ready to bring that? And I'm going to let's find each other in the chat box if you can, if you're up for it. Who's ready to be totally new? Like, are we ready to be totally, absolutely new? Like, this is the first time we've ever met, right? We're totally, absolutely new, right? We're new, right? We're ready to be new. We're ready to do this for the first time. We have the energy, right? The excitement, the desire, right? The delight of the very first time. We've never felt so ready in our lives. Our entire lives are for this day. Our entire lives for this hour or hour and a half. Our entire lives are for the articulations, right, that we want to bring together right now. And I want to just, with your permission, Christina Amlon, make one slight alteration on the Dharma recap. Some of the context, some of the deep structures of thought that we talk about, right, in One Mountain live in the books that I've written and that Barbara's written. But the core of what we're doing, although some of it's published, the core of what we're doing is new, right? Actually, in these weeks, we're actually articulating and formulating, right, the new principles. Early versions of them have been written. In the next 9 months, we're going to publish probably, we hope, 10 volumes, which is kind of unbelievable, thank God. But that's just the beginning. We're working together on articulating a great Da Vinci library. But actually, what we're doing is new. Right? It's actually when we come together, it's in this space in between us, when we love each other like we've never loved before, when we open our hearts like we've never opened our hearts before for the very first time, right? That we actually can articulate. Last week, we articulated something that I've been working on for a couple of years. Barbara and I discussed in depth, right? Which is this notion of past, present, and future as first principles of cosmos. It's a huge right? And we mapped it in this hugely exciting and original and wondrous way, right? Original, it's original to cosmos. It's bringing together strands and weaving and birthing something new. Something incredible was birthed, and we're going to deepen that birthing this week if she gives us grace. We're going to go so deep into past, present, and future in the next couple of weeks and what that means and how that impacts. But we're creating something new together. So I want to invite you, and maybe you'll invite me, and maybe we'll invite each other, right? There's no I in you. There's just we. We're together. So just tentatively, just trembling before you, right? Just so gently and so fiercely, right? I want to invite me, we, right? Thee, right? All of us, she, right? To actually be in the newness of this and the overarching, and who can feel it, right? The overarching importance of it. It's so important, right? We think it's happening someplace else. It's not. It's ours to do. And yes, we've got brothers and sisters around the world, and people are doing unbelievably important different pieces for sure. But these pieces, this central dharma, my friend Daniel left me a vox this morning. He said, I woke up this morning, I was thinking about the importance of unique self, right? And this notion of, right, these notions that we're talking about, right? The intimate universe, right? And why they're so critical. This is so important. So let's birth something new. That's our intention today. Our intention is to be new. Right, to birth something undeniably, gorgeously new, rooted in the ancient, rooted in all the ancient masters and all the ancient texts, rooted in the best of modernity, right? And new that the world desperately needs. We're birthing something new. Oh my God. Oh my God. So welcome, everyone. Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we? Anyone have a yes? I've got a yes. I'm writing a yes, right? Yes. Yes. Who else has got a yes? You're sitting watching, right? Step in, man. Write a yes. Let's yes. Wait, the yes of the Big Bang, right? The radiation and the radiance of the yes of the Big Bang lives in us in this moment. Yes. Right. Are we ready to participate? Yes. In the evolution of love.